And it's incumbent upon us as agency owners guiding clients and clients themselves to begin to amass and to rely upon first-party data rather than third-party data.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hossman, and joining me today is a brand new rock star. I'm super excited to dive in today. He's the founder and CEO of Wheelhouse Digital Marketing Group, Aaron Burnett. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited about the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to dive in because you've got some. I was reading up on you, and you got my wheels turning, man. So AI is the buzzword, right? Everybody's talking about AI, regardless of industry. Everybody's trying to figure out how to utilize AI, how AI is going to affect marketing. So what do you think the future of digital marketing looks like when it comes to AI?
I think, in a nutshell, what will count and what will only count in the future is truly deep expertise. I think the aspects of digital marketing that can be defined by process or very detailed documentation are likely to be subsumed by AI. There still will be an expert guiding AI. It's not as though we'll turn the keys over to some orchestrated system. But again, I think if you're in an agency or you're a practitioner and what you're doing is following a checklist, or following some recipe that's tried and true, you should think about that recipe being subsumed by and taken over by AI. We use AI tactically right now for specific tasks, always instigated by, guided by, reviewed by expert practitioners, our digital strategists. But the extent to which we use it increases on a daily basis as the extent to which it's capable also increases, usually on a daily basis, although sometimes it's been interesting. There have also been significant periods of regression recently. And so, all the more reason to have an expert strategist monitoring. But I think, again, if it's driven by process, if it can be documented, if it can be broken down to minute tasks, AI is likely to do that work.
That's really interesting. And I think, it's funny because as business owners, entrepreneurs, that's what you're always trying to do is try to create a process that you can keep going. But to your point, AI is better at that sort of thing. That's a great point. Now, I've seen you talk about analytics-driven personalization, and I'm curious about that. So can you talk about how that can help tailor the customer experience?
Sure. There are a couple of ways to think about this. In one sense, I was listening to your last episode on measurement marketing, and you had a discussion with your guest about how valuable it is to measure and monitor and deeply understand user journeys so that you can then optimize and serve the right sort of message, the right sort of content at the right point in that user journey. We do the same thing, and we use a framework that is based on user intent and their awareness at specific points in that user journey. What we do is to implement our client sites with a fairly sophisticated custom analytics framework that is mapped specifically to where someone is in that user journey, in a buyer's journey. They are unaware, they're problem aware, they're solution aware, they're aware of a brand, now they're ready to convert. And by instrumenting sites in that way, we can see performance across channels. We can see all of the touch points and all of the content, whether paid or unpaid, that a user is interacting with. And then we can target them with the right message or the right content that continues to march them down the funnel to conversion. So we're really, through instrumentation and through the ability that we have to take all of that data and load and harmonize it in our own proprietary data warehouse, we're able to orchestrate both paid and unpaid channels in a way that maps to that user journey that marketers know and love and works so well. The other way to think about this, though, is even technically more sophisticated, and I would say until recently has been out of the reach of most organizations that aren't quite large with quite large budgets. And that's using a data warehouse or a customer data platform. You can use both of these in fairly sophisticated ways to orchestrate on-site experiences in a manner that is tailored to and customized for users based on characteristics that you know or can learn about them. I would bifurcate here and say there's a lot that's possible if you're in an environment that isn't regulated by something like HIPAA. That isn't possible if you are in healthcare, medical device, or pharmaceutical, and you're not allowed to track folks in the same way, and not allowed to use third-party data in particular. So if you're in one of those regulated entities, it's critical that you have your own first-party data and zero-party data, that you use that data to orchestrate on-site experiences to the extent that it is valuable and comfortable and appropriate for your visitors. If you're not in a regulated industry, then you can do that and much more because you still, for the time being, have access to third-party tracking data as well.
Wow. That's super interesting, Aaron, how you and I love how, again, you were talking about the interview with Chris Mercer. That was a really interesting thing. And I think it is one of those things where we get overwhelmed with it, but man, the tools are there to really make it so that you can speak directly to the person where they are.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. What also is true, though, I mean, is that because of what's happening with privacy regulations, there are a lot of things available in third-party tools. There's a lot of data available via third-party platforms that I think we also all need to be careful to wean ourselves off of as quickly as possible. And it's incumbent upon us as agency owners guiding clients and clients themselves to begin to amass and to rely upon first-party data rather than third-party data, because the regulatory environment is such that that's where we're all headed. Google is going to deprecate third-party cookies at some point at the beginning of 2025. All of that platform data that we've known and loved and relied upon is going to go away. So the sooner that you can begin to control and rely on and activate your own data, the better.
So real quickly, just for someone who is watching this and they're like, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean by the difference between third-party and first-party data? Can you talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Third-party data is data that is collected by a third party, by a platform that is not the client, is not the site owner. That platform data is what we rely upon to power analytics, to power all of the ad platforms that we use, to target audiences, to understand performance of campaigns against those audiences. So anything that Meta collects, for example, via Facebook or Instagram, anything that Google Ads collects right now, anything that Bing Ads collects, any advertising platform in the main that collects data that has placed a pixel on a site is collecting what's called third-party data.
Yeah.
Those third-party cookies in the near future are going to be eliminated. Firefox and Safari already don't support third-party cookies. Google is going to deprecate support for third-party cookies. It was supposed to be this year. It's going to be the beginning of next year. And so that data that is amassed on an advertiser's behalf for them to use to target and activate goes away. You need to be able to target in a different way. The way that you can target differently, the way that you can differently understand your audiences, still activate and drive performance against those audiences, is with what's called first-party data. That is behavioral data that is collected on your site and is amassed and owned by you, the client or the site owner. It also is data that is given to you with permission of a user. The user completes a form, signs up for something, checks a box that says it's all right for you to communicate with me. You are allowed to use that data. You can amass that kind of data through any number of marketing channels, and the more of it you have, the better profile you have, the more granular and accurate profile you have of your users, and the better equipped you are to deeply understand those users at an audience level, and then to activate that audience understanding in targeting in other platforms, in development of creative and the like.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool, man. This is great. I always love interviews where I'm following, but I'm learning. And today is definitely one of those days, Aaron. So I appreciate that. So you kind of referenced it earlier, privacy, right? Privacy is something I think we're all concerned about, and it's a buzzword right now. So with everyone worried about privacy, how can marketers succeed in this sort of privacy first world?
Yeah. Well, again, it comes back to what we were just talking about. And it is laying the groundwork now so that you're not reliant on third-party data for targeting or for performance reporting. It's really going back in some ways to the days of permission marketing. You have to earn the relationship with a user. You have to earn their data and permission to use that data. You need to activate that data in a way that, depending upon the industry, we work a lot in healthcare and med tech. In healthcare and med tech, we can't share anything with a third-party platform. Mm-hmm. So everything that we learn, all of the insights that we glean, have to be in the context of our own data warehouse, which is a HIPAA-compliant data warehouse. We determine insights, we activate those insights in sort of what's called an air gap fashion. No data comes from us to a platform. We can take the insights and we can configure a platform to target based on those insights, but not individually and not using any of the data that we collected. I think that sophistication and that hyper awareness and attention to privacy that right now is really most germane to healthcare and med tech, those entities that are covered by HIPAA, is where the rest of the internet is headed. Right now, HIPAA covers all of the US, but there are 13 other states that are developing their own privacy regulations. In Europe, we have GDPR. More stringent privacy regulations is where we're all headed. And so it's amassing first-party data. It's amassing the infrastructure that allows you to understand and glean insights from and activate that first-party data, and learning to use it in a manner that doesn't rely on third-party tracking.
Wow. Yeah, it's got my wheels turning, Aaron. That's for sure. Just because it's like it's something you referenced it, permission marketing. It's funny. I think that's been a thing that sometimes we lean on those tools of the third-party data. Whereas if we keep doing the things where we get permission and can communicate to people who want to be communicated to, it's really not that old of a concept, but it is tried and true.
That's right. Well, and we have found consistently that activating first-party data, particularly for targeting, is so much more effective than using third-party data. We drive exceptional performance with first-party data, where previously, if we had relied on third-party data, we couldn't drive the same performance.
That's awesome. Aaron, this has been great. So where can folks find out more information about you and your company?
They can look at our website, which is wheelhousedmg.com. They can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm just Aaron Burnett on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter or X at Aaron Burnett. And they can email me, aaron@wheelhousedmg.com.
That's awesome. Well, this has been great. I've learned a lot, and this is one of those I'm going to go back and listen to again, because I want to make sure I'm following along with the stuff you're teaching. So I appreciate this, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Okay.
That sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.